Good evening, and thanks to everyone for participating, and thanks to the Ames Progressive Alliance for organizing this fine event. I'm Diane Burke. I'm representing Amos, a Mid-Iowa organizing strategy. Amos is a community, nonprofit community organization that really tackles community problems. And we are made up of diverse member groups, including churches, synagogues, advocacy organizations that represent thousands of residents in metropolitan Ames and Des Moines. And to my question, currently transportation for Ames Community School students both to school and to extracurricular activities is not accessible or desirable to all students. One possible solution would be to utilize an already well-established system of public transportation, SciRide. What structures and strategies do you envision would be needed to allow middle and high school students in Ames Public School to ride SciRide free of cost to get to school and extracurricular activities? Thank you. Woo!
Thank you for the question. That's a good one. I think it's going to be always keep us all on our toes. We do have an exceptional system of transportation here in the city, and as I understand, the funding of it is a joint effort with the university and municipal funds. I'm not quite sure how that would play into the school district and from, you know, where, if needed, dollars would need to be there. I have to do some homework, I have to admit. I can't give you an answer off the top of my head. I think it would be beneficial. I know in other communities that have access to transportation such as that it's a very beneficial thing for children to learn, whether they're in middle school or high school, how to use mass transit in their communities. Because if and when they do move away, even though moms and dads don't like that sometimes, they're well prepared to go to a city or a larger urban area to live, to get around. So I would be very open to looking into that, doing some research to see if we can utilize those resources, especially for those families that sometimes find it very difficult to get their children to after-school programs, whether it be music or dance or athletic activities.
Great question. To be honest, I think the conversation as far as utilizing the SciRide for an opportunity for older age students to try and get to activities outside of the regular school, that is a discussion that really needs to be had with individuals like Matthew Goodman, perhaps, and maybe Tim Garden in the back. As city council members, they're going to have a lot more control and understanding of the financial aspects of SciRide in the city organization. I think it's a great idea. The only concerns that I might have as a school board member would be the protection of our youth, because when you're mixing middle school students or a younger high school student with potentially older college age kids, there could be some room there for some misunderstandings. So that would be my only question and curiosity and wanting to, of course, protect the welfare and the safety of the student at all times. But other than that, I think it's a discussion that might be worth taking a little deeper into, and maybe we'll bring that up the next time we have our joint meeting with the city.
Thank you for the question. I guess there's two different ways that I look at it. Yeah, could it benefit the school district and the town? I think it could. But then you got to look at, what's being done and is it needed? I've talked to Spence before, a couple individuals in Ames that I've been aware of, and my wife passed through the school district. And there's avenues for them to get SciRide tickets if they need it. If they need to get places in town after extracurricular activities. There are ways for them to get to home and to practice. The first few weeks is always harder to identify those children, but with work of the counselors and the coaches and Spence Evans, and I think it all works out. The first couple weeks, it seems like my wife and I drive the kids around a lot, and we try to help them, but our community is great, and people around town are great. That, hey, Susie lives in West Ames, you live in West Ames, would you like to take her every day? And it seems to work out. There's people that are all over town. This town's great that they do a lot of ride sharing that I think a lot of people don't know about, but it's out there, and the kids really enjoy it, and they get to know each other through that process as well.
Thank you for the question. I actually talked to the city manager and the mayor 18 months ago about this. Last year we had kind of a rough start to the school year with busing, and we wanted to look at all options. And so I thought, okay, what feasible things could we look at? And I said, what about Side-Ride? They have great infrastructure. However, I know in talking with some council members that funding is, of course, an issue, and they're looking at deficits as well. So I was trying to balance knowing what their capacity is. I know they'd have to ramp up to do that. Legally, we'd have to figure out an arrangement that would work, because we're very limited on how we can spend our funds. So it's been talked about. I don't think it's probably likely that we would, or not likely, but likely that we would go there, but something we have considered.
Thank you for the question. I think students' participation in extracurricular activities has shown to contribute to their success in school. So I think we'd all like to see them have that opportunity if there is a desire. So identifying what are those constraints, not allowing them to participate in those. And if that is transportation, who are those partners? Is it the city? Are there agencies within the community that we can identify so that we can kids to and from those activities, because they are important, and research has shown that if we keep those students engaged, then they will have a larger chance of success in schools.